I'm Unusual Pets. Today we are in bed with Spar spiders. So here we are in bed with Luke from Spar Spiders. So
excuse me, we've got rehousing to do.
So Luke, what's the spider we're going to be rehousing?
Okay, so this is Evo marinas. So it would be commonly known as the skeleton leg. This is one of my females. So in here, I've just used a mixture of topsoil and Irish peat moss, and I have some leaf litter from yourself. Very kind of dropping that down today. No, I haven't actually put a water bowl in here because she's gonna use all of these leaves and this substrate to create a burrow, and usually the burrows are sort of like a turret, so they actually come out from the base of the substrate and up. So I'm hoping she does that and incorporates her leaf litter into that. She also isn't the friendliest spider, so hopefully she goes in, no problems asked. But once that burrow is created, I will then add a water bowl for her. I would also like to add, this tank is perfect for a spider this size, but once she grows a little bit bigger, I'm gonna look at maybe getting a tank same dimensions but with just a little bit more depth. Okay. So I'll just take her in now.
So now we've finally rehoused that spider that you really wanted to rehouse.
We had to get that done.
We had to get that done. So I'm going to get on with an interview and have a little chat with you and obviously ask you some questions. So obviously you have Spar spiders and you have your website and everything, and obviously from the outside world it probably looks a lot like you've got a big business running, but to be honest it's more of a hobby for you, am I correct?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it's never really. I've never intended for it to be a business. I've always had a fascination with spiders. My dad absolutely did not, by the way. He was phobic, actually. So I was put off for years. I mean, if I could have started doing this hobby younger, I would have. I got my first spider age 11. I'd have had that spider way younger. But my dad was always phobic. But then again, my dad always kept reptiles. He had from iguanas to the leopard geckos that he was very successful in breeding at some point.
So I know that your dad kept exotic pets.
Well, it was my dad keeping exotic pets, and he was very similar to me actually. So when he lived at home with my nanny and granddad, they were never keen on the exotic pets. So once he actually left home, he was allowed to have everything, so he did, as I say, the iguana and various other reptiles, but he's always scared of spiders. I mean, I do like my reptiles. I've got my Burmese, she's amazing, but for me, spiders just stick. It's one of them, it sticks like my hair. I'm sure that I'm going to keep my long hair, I'm sure that I'm going to keep my spiders, I'm sure about my family and friends. And I'm very fortunate, so once he allowed me to get my first spider at 11, it's just sort of gone from there. I never planned for it to be a business, but I'm fortunate to be where I am, to spend more time doing what I love, yeah.
So, obviously you have a lot of spiders. Your setups are really, really great. I've seen the other room and everything. Could you tell us a little bit more about them and what you have envisioned and things like that?
So, I mean, this is a difficult one. Because with so many spiders in and out all the time, I mean, I've got my own collection and I've got my other spiders on top of that, and both are growing equally. So my hope is to be at a point where I can have my own collection separate, and with some of the tanks that you've been able to film today, that's sort of the direction I'd like to go. I'd really like to have a room where you could walk in, and that's my own collection, and with the bioactive setups and the live plants. That's what I'm aiming for. So that's Marina. We'll drop her Instagram and Facebook down in the bio. I can't take credit for that. She's done an amazing job in helping me really with them tanks. And that's just something that I'm looking to work with across the board. But in terms of setups, I mean, you can go from your plastic, you know, as long as your spider is happy, it is happy. You know, I mean, a tank might look great to us, but a simple setup might be better for a spider.
Yeah,
so it's knowing your spider. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there is no right and wrongs, but for me, I've always envisioned in my head of being able to walk into my spider room and just have a room lit up with the lights and the natural plants. So that's sort of what I'm aiming for at this point, yeah.
That's really cool, yeah. Pretty much the same for us. I've actually minimised my collection a lot now, so to give them more space and better enclosures.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you've been doing Spar spiders for a little while now. How many years have you been going?
Officially, we've been going for the previous 2 years, up until this year. I mean, it's good. I don't like to really set myself targets. I mean, for me, it's great. I mean, it's great to be a part of this community now, because for a very long time, I was doing this on my own with my dad. It was our little hobby, and I never knew there was a community out there. So to meet yourself, to meet Terry, to meet Scott, Matt, all of the other YouTubers, Phil, I could go on all day, and I can't name everybody because I will forget somebody. But I never knew the community existed.
So obviously, like you said, you've been doing it for 2 years. Where do you see it going in the future?
Well, so as I see, I mean, we're fortunate to be at the position now where we're able to sell online, and for us it's great because I mean, there's so many shows now. Because when I was younger, there used to be BTS and the Seas, Southeast Arachnid Show. And those were the only shows. Now there's so many shows, it's great. I mean, we get to go out. I mean, I think this year we're doing 16 shows. So not only is it great to be able to get out there and so many events, but it all comes back to the community. And I mean, at this point, I'd just like to keep progressing how we are. I mean, I'm looking forward to next year's shows, and it's interesting. With the breeding, we really try to knuckle down on the breeding, so it's always something new in this hobby. There's always something new. I try not to look at it so much like a business. That's not why I started. I started as a hobby, and for me, 16 days of the year I get to hang out with spider people and speak to spider people.
I'm happy. Part of the fun of it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy where we are. Yeah, definitely.
I think it's very good having that community and having people like-minded, like-interested. I think we're all very similar in a way, but also all very different as well. But I think that sort of makes us a lot stronger as a community. So I do agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like I can sit here and we can speak all day long about inverts. But if you weren't here and my friends were here, for example, then they don't care so much. So the community is huge, and if I can keep doing what I'm doing this year on to next year, I'll be happy with that. Of course, it'd be cool to grow bigger, but I mean, this is my hobby at the end of the day.
So obviously you've got a lot of spiders. I don't know if you'd be comfortable talking about like what would be your most valuable spider in your collection. It doesn't necessarily have to be price valuable, but to you, the most valuable spider.
Okay, so actually that could be a difficult question, but for me personally, my most valuable spider is absolutely my Grammar Stola Rosea NCF X Porteri. The name's changed quite a lot. It is being referred to as NCF Rosea at the moment, but Chili Rose, maybe that can summarise it quite nicely. I've had that spider since I was 11 years old. I'm 28 now, so I've had her to 17 years, and when I did buy her, I was 11 years old. So for her to be adult at the time that I bought her, she's probably 23, but that spiders came everywhere with me. I mean, of course I've got spiders in there that are maybe higher value, but for me personally, my sentimental value, that spider means the world to me.
This is it. It's not always about monetary value either, is it? It's about, because obviously it's an animal and it's your pet, and it's you know part of your life and your family, and same as any pet really, isn't it? I think a lot of people don't realise that spiders can be quite important to us as well, although they don't feel love for us, we feel love for them. So obviously you liked spiders from a young age. Is there anything that you'd like to say to maybe like the young viewers, because I do have quite a few younger viewers, on what maybe they should be looking for in a spider, or what you suggest for them if they want to get into the hobby, or what any information that they might need just to start off?
I mean, I think the most important thing to do is really just do your research. You know, like look at different sources. Don't stick to one person's opinion. Look across the board. I mean, it's a common thing I get asked: what is a good beginner spider? My ideal beginner spider might be different to yours. I do think if you do your research, then you can start. I mean, there's spiders that you probably should avoid, but they're normally down to the potency. I think it's quite interesting. It's a very good question, actually. So a lot of the beginner spiders, the Brachypelma species as such, they're very avid hair kickers.
Yeah.
And some of the old world species that I deal with, such as the marinas that we done earlier, they can be a little bit more feisty and they have got more potent venom. But they're a lot easier to deal with for me, so I think it's more about your understanding. And of course, you know, you have the more experienced spiders which are a little bit more flighty and stuff. But I really do think if this is a hobby that you're looking at getting into and you do your research, I think you're going to be okay starting in a variety of places. You want to be able to take that spider and give it the best setup. And
for me, my first spider was a Vagans, Brachypelma Vagans. It turned out to be a male, and it ended up passing away from old age. This was like a year and a bit ago. But like my third spider I went out and got was actually an OBT, which everyone's like, oh, they're so like flighty, they're so like. I never had any issue with that spider ever, and literally she would run out now and again, like, but she would literally run and then stop, and then I could pick her up. Well, not pick her up, but put her into a catch cup and put her away. So I think I agree with you. It depends on how like if the person has the understanding of that spider and what they're dealing with. I think is probably. So we had the interview with Luke. He gave some really good answers to our questions, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much, Luke, for sitting and talking to us.
you're very welcome.
We've had an absolutely amazing day, and an absolutely brilliant time here with Luke. I hope you enjoyed the footage. Go down and check out all of the links down below. There'll also be a link to Spar Spider's website down below in the description. And thank you, Scott, for sending everybody over here. I really appreciate it and love you all. Bye.